Okay, we are live. Hey everybody, Tobias and Emily here. This will probably be the only time you see me during this because I'm going to hop back behind the camera. You'll definitely hear my voice. And we're going to explain to you real quick what we're doing, and then we're just going to get right into it. Okay, so for anybody who has not been following the details of the Lake Michigan Mothman case, it came to our attention recently from a few of our fellow investigators that there were people claiming to have received certain messages from entities claiming to be behind some of the reported sightings. And there were certain telepathic contacts, we'll say, that people were claiming. And in speaking with Lon Strickler, he had met one woman who he had communicated with, and he had tried some techniques, and he had said that he had made some contact through her and with her help, and now is able to do that on his own somewhat. And so Manuel Navarrete from UFO Clearinghouse had gotten involved with that, and he said he had some contact, and so there were one or two other mediums that were brought in as well, and they had claimed that they had some level of psychic contact as well. And so that's something that I am definitely willing to entertain, especially if you, like me, are willing to, entertain the idea of consciousness being a sort of crucial element to what we're dealing with. So, if it's possible that these sightings sort of take place with consciousness as a medium, for communication, then I don't see why something like telepathy or that kind of communication would be off the table. In fact, it seems like it would be more likely than anything, frankly. So, let's see here. Before we get started with the actual experiment, or actually before I progress anymore, I just want to make sure that I have this set up so I can see comments and things. And it looks like I can. What's that, Emily?
If you need to, it's my phone in case you need to.
Okay. Emily's not going to need her phone, so I will just go ahead and look at hers as well. They should pop up on mine over here, but since I'm using mine to film, it would also be easy just to look at Emily's. So, okay, so the basic idea here is that we're going to use something called the Estes Method, popularized by a couple of investigators that you might be familiar with out of Colorado. The name was coined because of the location where they came up with this particular method, which was Estes, Colorado, I believe.
Park.
Estes Park, sure. And so the basic principle is that through sort of denying this control subject all of their senses, that they won't be corrupted by any outside influence. So instead of Emily and I sitting around a spirit box running the risk of sort of yes-anding each other into a false positive, instead we have me outside and her cut off completely by denying her senses outside of what she's hearing through this spirit box, and me asking questions. And so if there is something that is capable of communicating with us, directly via consciousness, we would expect for it not to matter if Emily can hear and see me, but rather, it should be able to hear me fine and communicate to Emily directly through the spirit box. Now, Honestly, I'm not going to lie. I don't know how that works. I don't know what the precise mechanism is for entities communicating through something like a spirit box. I mean, it certainly could be something like the manipulation of sound waves and frequencies to, create the sounds they want. It could be some similar type of manipulation to put existing, sounds together to sort of Frankenstein their way into a message. It could be any number of things, frankly. As far as I know, it could be manipulating someone directly to hear what they want them to hear rather than actually manipulating sound waves or frequencies at all. So who knows? But the fact is, people think that it gets results, and I want to see. I want to see for ourselves. So that is what we are going to try here today, and we're going to try specifically to communicate with whatever it is that Lon and Manuel and these mediums. I'm trying to remember their names. I think it was Jennifer and Bernadette was another one.
Yep.
Have been communicating with, and hopefully we'll find out something interesting. So I have not, of course, told Emily any questions ahead of time. She has no idea about anything that I'm going to ask. I didn't write anything down or anything like that. Even I do have a notebook here for me to take notes, but that's about it. So she shouldn't be aware of anything that we're going to be talking about or anything that we ask her. So we should get some pretty clean results if we get any at all. Of course, like any paranormal investigation, you just never know. So, one other thing. If you hear something chewing in the background, it is not an ultra-terrestrial. It is one of our dogs, because we gave them frozen treats to try to shut them up while we perform this session. Okay, Emily, are you all set? All right. Okay. Well, here we go. Now, again, Emily is completely closed off from her environment right now. We did test this earlier. Those are recording studio quality headphones that block something like 25 decibels of sound or something ridiculous. So there's no chance of her being able to see or hear anything. Ultra terrestrial dogs confirmed, says Asher's. Yeah, it is what it is. Luckily, since we're not actually trying to use a spirit box or anything, we don't have to worry about any background noise necessarily. Other than that, it's kind of annoying to us. But anyway, we should get into it. So a little bit more background on these reported entities. Apparently, they have communicated that they like to be referred to as the unseen ones, and so that's how I will be referring to them during this.
Wait.
Okay. If you don't want me to refer to you as the unseen ones, that's fine.
Wait. No.
Okay. So that's interesting. Now, if there is some particular way that you would like us to communicate, or a particular name that you would like us to call you.
No.
Okay, I'm sensing some resistance here. If you want us to call you something else, you should tell us what that is. Otherwise, I'm going to proceed. Now, I have been told by other people who have claimed, to have contact with you or these entities who say that you are responsible for the winged humanoid sightings, or some of these winged humanoid sightings, that you prefer to remain hidden, and yet you allow yourselves to be seen. Why? Can you give us some kind of indication as to why that would be? Because it seems pretty curious to me, actually. Like, what is the purpose of being seen if you have the option not to be? Is there some sort of plan or agenda?
Stop.
Okay, well, I apologize if I'm rushing into sensitive territory. I certainly don't mean to be. I'm a curious explorer, and part of why I am curious is because of the experiences that I've had throughout my life, and those are experiences that have continued into my career as an investigator, and they've continued into the Kettle Moraine State Forest. As you may be aware, that's an area in southeastern Wisconsin that Emily, myself, and our friends Adam and Jay have explored quite extensively, although no one so much as Jay. And when we've been in that forest, we've had some interesting communication with something directly through a spirit box.
What?
Okay. Well, we had communication directly with something that had told us essentially in so many words that it was watching us while we were in there. Can you tell me who it was that was watching us out in the Kettle Moraine State Forest? Who was watching us? Okay. Are you quiet because you don't know, or because you don't want to say?
No.
Okay. So, what's interesting so far, I'm going to break away from the session real quick just to make some notes. Now, I'm hearing no and what repeated somewhat, and I'm sure you guys are hearing that as well. And I don't know if that has something to do with, an actual communication coming through this.
You can't know.
Well, shit. Okay. We can't know who's watching us. Can you tell me why not? Why can't we know? Is it for our own safety? Hey, I'm gonna... Can you tell us why we can't know? Is it beyond human comprehension? There has to be some reason, and I don't mean to push you too far. I apologize if that's what it seems. I appreciate you communicating with us as much as you have. It's an honor, certainly, but you'll have to forgive my curiosity.
Fear.
You're afraid, or we should be afraid? Is there something that if we knew it, it would make us afraid, that we would become terrified? Is there something that is out there that even you are afraid to speak of? Okay, well, can you tell us more about yourself? What is your interest in us, frankly, in humanity, in watching people, in occasionally being seen by them? Is being seen by them an accident, or is it something that you do on...
No way.
Okay, so it's something that you do on purpose. So what are you hoping to gain by revealing yourselves sometimes to humans? This is something that, as I've mentioned, is of great personal importance to me. Throughout my life,
Watch it.
Okay, I apologize if I've done anything to offend you. Of course, we really are nothing more than supplicants, really, trying to understand. And I appreciate, of course, everything that you've already revealed to us, and can't stress enough what an honor it is, frankly, for us to be able to even receive that amount of information, really. So if you'll allow me to proceed, I can't tell you how much I would appreciate that, frankly.
True.
Okay. Well, thank you. So if you would do us this kindness and reveal any part of why you choose to appear to certain people, it would mean so much to us and our work, and the wisdom that we could gain from that could be very, very valuable, and we would just appreciate it. And if you don't want to reveal that to us, that's okay.
Here.
What's here? Is there something else here with us now? Let me backtrack a little bit. So if you're not willing, which is understandable, certainly you know more about your agenda and why you would do things than we do. So if you're not willing to reveal to us why you appear to certain people, perhaps you would be willing to tell us why you appear.
What is it?
Perhaps you'd be willing to tell us why you appear in the areas that you do. And I'm sorry if it took me a long time to get to that question. Could you tell us what your interest
Wait.
Okay. Well, we are waiting. Will you be willing to...
No. Later.
Okay. Is there something that you need from us before we can have this information, before you can reveal more to us? Is there something that we should be doing? Is there anything we can do for you, or that you would like us to do for us to be able to learn more about your motivation or about what you're doing? Is this something that we need to return to at a later date? I certainly don't want to offend you by keeping you here or continuing communication with you if your intention is for us to have this information at a later date. So is there anything else that you want to tell us tonight? Is there any other message you have for us? Any message you would like for me to deliver to Lon or Jennifer or Manuel or Bernadette or anyone else with whom you or any of the unseen ones have been in communication with? Okay. Well, I'm going to take this silence as an answer in and of itself. If you're still here, would you please give us some indication that you're still here and willing to communicate with us? Okay. Well, I think that's about all we're going to get tonight. I'm going to get Emily out of it here. Hey,
Hey,
hi there.
it's bright.
Yeah, how did it go?
It's weird.
Yeah? How did it feel your first time?
Weird. Definitely. I mean, you can definitely. Sorry if I'm like squinting. You can definitely like pick out pieces of what the radio is, but like, I kept hearing like this, like you can kind of hear some like whirring and buzzing as it's switching, but it almost sounds like anytime I heard something, it sounded like kind of a weird male voice coming out from under beneath that.
Just like we would hear through our spirit box.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's because I know how to pick it out.
Sure.
But like it's I think it's weirder through this.
Yeah, well, you're much more isolated.
Yeah.
It's probably a little scarier, I would imagine.
It is. It's just, and sometimes you think you hear something and maybe you didn't. maybe you did hear something, but you can't make it out.
Sure.
So it was strange.
Okay.
Not as scary as I thought it would be, but definitely it's weird being isolated like that.
Right. Yeah, fair enough.
How was it on this end?
Interesting, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I think that you are going to enjoy seeing the results when we play them back here for you once we finish up. But yeah, it certainly seemed like there were some appropriate answers to our questions. Yeah, I mean, eerily so. Like every time we do something like this, I went into it with zero expectations, none. You know, and we definitely have some food for thought now. I think because again, it certainly seemed like something was communicating. You know, something was responding to my questions. Didn't seem like it was in a super good mood, but
Well, I knew what I was saying as I said them, so
right. Yeah, and that's interesting. Was there any? Could you tell like any emotional state from like vocal inflection or anything?
not too much, honestly. It just seemed more like very stale, monotone most of the time, but it was also like short with their responses.
Okay, so sort of terse.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Okay, well, I'm excited to show this to Emily. I guess if anybody has, any final thoughts or anything, share them with us or comment them, under the video. But yeah, I definitely think that it's going to be interesting to go back and watch this again and sort of see how how everything played out. Hold on, Asher's is asking if I will be going under. Oh, okay, yeah, no, I mean that makes a certain amount of sense. The reason that Emily went under is because, generally speaking, I have more experience interviewing witnesses and more experience as an investigator, and so it was generally agreed upon that Emily, who's a fairly sensitive person, would act as a good conduit, and then I would ask questions. Now, would I be willing to trade places? Absolutely, yeah. Like there's no doubt.
Maybe after a few more of these or something.
Sure,
Just kinda test it
it just
against each
whenever you're comfortable asking questions, I would be more than willing to do that. I mean, I've had my share of weird experiences, psychic experiences, psychic communications, visions, you name it, frankly, with otherworldly entities, for lack of a better term. So I'm more than comfortable, going under and filling that role. So yeah, no, definitely. I think that's something that would be very interesting. And frankly, I'm sure Emily wouldn't mind at all if, some other people wanted to be on here and just help her ask some questions.
Yeah.
Frankly.
I'll probably want to do this a few more times and watch the playback from a couple of these sessions just to kind of get a grasp of what you were doing.
Right.
And then I can do it and we can see how it works with you.
Sure. Absolutely. Okay, cool. Well, this will give us a lot to talk about at our next meetup as well, and of course anything we do in the interim. But yeah, I don't know. Interesting, interesting session. There were a few, and looks like there's a couple.
Hi.
Yeah, no, I mean Asher's has been very helpful.
Oh, cool.
Sort of making observations and prompting things and sort of giving me ideas and stuff. So that has been awesome. So thank you, Ashers. That was great.
Thank
Much appreciated. And yeah, she actually brought up the point about us potentially trading places as well.
Yeah,
So
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
yeah, so good food for thought from a fellow investigator, definitely. Okay, great. Well, all right. Well, you guys have a great night. Like I said, I'm anxious to show Emily this footage so she can see exactly what happened. And if you think of anything else, definitely let us know as soon as you do. And yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for being a part of this. We couldn't do it without you, frankly, and we love it. We love all the help and the encouragement and everything. So, all right, everybody, take care.